Today I want to talk about socialism versus capitalism and what's being put out there in terms of our choice in this election. And first of all, let me just acknowledge that we live in a mixed economy that includes both of them. We do have some socialist principles at work in the United States. I mean, we do have welfare. We do have other things that we use in our society to help those that are less fortunate, and so we help people. We have Social Security. We have other things that are part of what some people might consider a socialist economy or government. And so I'm not speaking against those things per se. I want to speak to, again, kind of the deeper principles or philosophy behind socialism versus capitalism. And again, just up front, why I believe that capitalism is a more biblical form of economy, and why the government should be more based on capitalism rather than socialism. And so I would say that the first principle is something I referred to in a previous video, and that is the law of sowing and reaping. The Bible is very clear that God is not mocked, that whatsoever man sows, that will he reap. And we talked about, in the abortion video, that, we, in our society today, we have a problem with consequences. We have a problem with tying one's life with the results of their choices. And that is fundamentally why I believe that capitalism is a much better expression of biblical values than socialism. Because if you don't give people a reward for what they've done, good or bad, then they will act out in whatever way they want to without fear of consequence. And you will ultimately be unable to control people because there is no consequence. And so I think this law of consequence, of sowing and reaping, is the foundation of truth. And this is a law like the law of gravity. Okay, this isn't even the law of God. Even though I quoted the text from the Bible, it's not like God, is arbitrarily saying, well, I'm going to make you experience consequences for your actions. No, there is a law in nature. I mean, the law of thermonuclear dynamics, says that for every action or movement, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so, we have that law in nature. And, if animals don't eat and provide for themselves, they will starve and die. But as human beings, we can create systems and methodologies and things like that to kind of keep us from experiencing those consequences. And unfortunately, I think socialism is one of those expressions that, if taken too far, can become really detrimental to human society, where instead of requiring people to support themselves and be responsible for themselves, we're going to go and take money from other people who have worked hard to make money and give it to people who haven't worked hard so that they don't have to. That's fundamentally wrong, in my opinion, and I think from a biblical perspective it is. Because the Bible says, Paul says to the church, like, if people don't work in the church, then they don't eat. He also admonishes us to work so that we might have means not only to support ourselves, but to share with others in need. So here's the second principle. The Bible, the biblical system of the Bible is one of benevolent capitalism. People get down on capitalism because of greed and so on and so forth. And there's more than enough evidence to, point to in terms of people who are greedy, who are just absolute jerks, who are insensitive and don't care about mankind at all. And I'm not supporting that at all. That's not the biblical view either. Capitalism, as I see it, and as I believe the Bible sees it, like I said, is the ability to reap what one sows. And so if you want to work hard and get results, you can. If you don't, you want to kick back, enjoy a low-key life, hey, that's okay too. But you're going to have the same results. You're going to have the fruit of your labor, whatever that labor is. That's the biblical principle. But the second principle is one of taking care of our neighbor. See, the other problem that I have with socialism and big government is the fact that government says it's going to take care of us. There's lots of problems with that. First of all, there's inefficiency in that, right? it's super inefficient for, the masses to bring all their money together, send it up to somebody up high in government, so that then that government can then redistribute it back down. Okay, so there's money being used on the way up and money being used on the way back down. And we grade nonprofits on their ability to how much money that you give them goes towards what you say it's going to go to, right? We don't like to give the money to nonprofits who, let's say, only have 50% of their money going to what we're giving it to them for, right? We wouldn't give a nonprofit that money. But when you talk about the government, how much money do we give them, and how much do we get back in the results that we get, right? So it's a very inefficient system in terms of actually getting the money to where the problem needs to go. The other problem with that is the fact that you give the money and all the say, and how the money is spent up to a central government that's far away from the problem, far removed from the people involved, and then they're gonna take down with responsibility to decide how that money is going to get spent locally when they don't even know the people. No, that's wrong. The Bible says that I need to be responsible for my neighbor, in the sense that if I see somebody in need, I should give them. I should take care of them. The Old Testament provided for poor people, by prohibiting farmers from harvesting every little bit of their crops. They weren't to harvest on the edges, and they weren't to go back and harvest a second time. They were to leave food in the field so that poor people could come and do gleaning and get food for themselves. They had to come in and do the work to pick the crops to have the food, but the food was there if they wanted it. And so the Bible paints a different picture of how we take care of our neighbors, our needy neighbors, and that is that we, as their neighbor, help them. You see, when we remove that person-to-person connection of your need and my response, or my need and your response to me, then we take all the interpersonal connections out of that. And now, if I'm giving my money to the government and the government is spending it in a way that I don't care for, then the people that are getting that money of mine and are wasting it, like I referred to some of the homeless people before, they become them, those people, the people on the other side of the tracks. Whereas if that person is my neighbor and I know him personally, I'm going to be more invested, more caring, more involved in the decisions around what happens to not only to my money, but to my neighbor. And I'm also going to be concerned that he's accountable or responsible for the money that he's getting. Like, I'm going to get involved in his life and help him figure out what his problem is and help him resolve that problem. And if he's lazy and not cooperative, then we're going to talk about that. But if he's responsive and things are going well, then we're all going to celebrate when he gets back on his feet, when he gets that job, when he gets that house, when whatever happens. You see, we've taken the connection from people to people, person to person, in a socialist or big government perspective. And if we keep going in the direction that's being portrayed, where everything is free and this, that, and so on and so forth, you're going to have way more class warfare. You're going to have people angry with those people and angry the other way with those people who have. So you're going to have versus the have-nots. And that's one of the fundamental issues that I think is a problem between, a socialist society where we think that government ought to take care of us, is that the government ends up taking money away from people who have worked hard to earn it, who deserve the fruit of their labor, and give it indiscriminately or disproportionately to people who have not earned it. That's going to cause a lot of resentment. That's going to cause a lot of bitterness, and on both sides. And I would say righteously on one side and unrighteously on the other, because, the studies have been done that when people get used to receiving something, they feel entitled. Yeah, we call it entitlements. So we now feel entitled to what we've been given, even though we haven't earned it. Now that's a problem too. And so by having entitled people, you create another situation, and the entitled people then begin to look at the people who are giving them the money and saying, what's wrong with you? You're not giving me enough. And I don't know if any of you have had children that have grown up and have done that to you, but that kind of sucks. And it's not a happy situation, because the parent is usually saying, wait a minute, who are you to talk? right? Like when you get your job and you can, work, then you can get the car that you want, whatever. Anyway, there are these fundamental issues behind socialism and capitalism. Capitalism, fundamentally, and again, it's man does things to warp anything, right? So there are a lot of greedy people who have taken advantage of situations in our capitalistic society that have been wrong, right? Absolutely wrong. So I'm not going to deny that. But from a fundamental standpoint, the Bible talks about sowing and reaping, about getting rewards. It talks about hard work and diligence. These are the values the Bible espouses. And socialism is against those, all right? Just flat out, it's against those. It's like, no, we're going to redistribute wealth. We're going to take from those who have and give it to the have-nots. It sounds like a nice idea, but when you get underneath it, it's a really bad idea. Another issue within socialism is that it takes ambition away from people. If you're a doer, and you're a hard worker and you have your money being taken away from you, it's like, it's demotivating, it's demoralizing. It's like, why do I do this? Because with socialism, taxes are going to go up, and up. And if you're giving away 70% of your money and you're just working your butt off, and you look at other people who are getting, freebies from the government and they're living just as well as you are, or maybe not quite as well, but they're not working their butts off, what are you going to do? So it takes your ambition away, your desire to achieve anything. And if you're on the receiving side again, why bother? Why get off welfare? Why go back to work? So it disincentivizes you to do anything with your life and takes away the ambition and the drive, the dreams. Dreams will die under socialism. And capitalism is the environment in which people can rise up. People come to America to see their dreams fulfilled, and they become millionaires and billionaires from some of the most impoverished nations in the world. That's never happened under socialism. You don't find that in a socialist country where people have come and worked hard and risen out of nothing to, a millionaire or a billionaire status. No, so capitalism gives people the opportunity to eat the fruit of their labor, literally, to come, work hard, and see that benefit. And so we don't want to strip that away from people. We want people to continue to come to America who have dreams, who want to work hard and do good things and invent new things and provide great services and so on and so forth, and have the benefit of that work. This is an important part of this argument between socialism and capitalism. And so again, we have a clear choice. We have those that are promoting socialism and free things and more government handouts, and we have those that are promoting independence and self-governance and self-responsibility. Vote for responsibility. Vote for consequences. Vote for rewards. You want to be rewarded for your actions. Everybody should be rewarded according to what he has already done. So I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. Again, go ahead and feel free to comment. I hope you like this page and give us your feedback and pass it along. All right, until next time.